number 2, Ray continues his conversation with Roosevelt Pitts and David Richardson, both members of Put Tools in Schools. They're on the board there. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store that's been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience. They offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of About Your House, heard every Saturday morning on Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app, stream it live anywhere on the planet. That's every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. on Fox Sports Charlotte. Seen live every Tuesday morning, well, 90% of them anyway, every Tuesday morning from 10 till noon, and with a few exceptions along the way. Like today, we're noon till 2, but we're on there every week. Go to the the YouTube channel About Your House Radio and Put Tools in Schools. Facebook Live also every Tuesday. Tune in, download it, and play it again on Fox Sports Charlotte every Saturday. Tune in to Fox Sports Charlotte. Download the free app. Once again, you can stream us live. That's 9 to 11 every Saturday morning. I got David Richardson in the house along with Roosevelt Pitts. We're talking about, well, workforce development, labor issues, trade talk, working with your hands, your mind, critical thinking, all that comes into play. But, you know, I bring up the big one for me, and that's mental health. We've got a mental health problem in this country, big time. Big time. Kids are lost. They don't know what to do. You know, if we don't teach them, you know, I was approached one time about teaching felons trades. As much as that would be interesting and challenging to say the least, I wanted to come in beforehand. If we can train kids on the front end, then we can keep them out of prisons on the rear end. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts?
Well, Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop that was in Africa, he's passed away, and one of his famous statements was, "We've got to quit simply pulling people out of the river. We're going to have to go upstream and find out why they're getting in."
Yeah, good point.
Okay, and that was one of his statements. So yeah, so currently economic development, workforce development, community programs, state programs, federal programs, we're spending I don't know how much money pulling people out of the river. But yet, what are we doing to prevent them from getting in the river? And the term that the education community right now, or workforce development, is upstream. They're wanting to move at trades and learning upstream, which is into our schools, and that's exactly right. But with that also comes mental health. So the mental health of our nation and our communities is built in our public schools.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what we have now is the harvest of what was planted in our public schools in the past. It's one of the key statements that you hear a lot of educators say now as well. They bring it from home. The reason our schools are the way that our schools are today is, well, they bring it from home. Well,
and we're going to talk about that bringing from home and why is it so bad at home?
Right. So what the educators are not seeing is they're not looking past their nose, but what is at home are folks that went to our public schools, but they did not receive a sound basic education.
They weren't educated. The parents of today, unfortunately, were dumbed down just like the students that are in the schools today. They were trained. They were conditioned.
So you can't teach what you don't understand.
Exactly.
So if I'm a baseball coach, I don't need to be a football coach.
Right.
Because so our parents at home, the folks that are at home, they can't give their children that base education they need to enter into kindergarten because they didn't get it themselves. Okay, so
I get it. Yeah.
Right, so So, and going back to Desmond Tutu, okay, so how do we prevent these folks from getting in the river to start with? Okay, yeah, we need pre-K stuff and everything, but it's deeper than that. We're going to have to get away from our model now of education where we're looking at each student as a data point. How do we look at the data? What's their standardized tests? What does that look like? They're testing here. Well, their scores are low there. Let's look at the data. Let's give them some supports and some interventions. Let's put them in the EC program. We've got to go back to finding out, letting these kids, like Roosevelt and I talked about a while ago, start to learn stuff, start to explore themselves. What are you interested in? What can you do? What do you want to do? And at that point in time, these folks start doing little things that allows them to become successful and to believe in themselves. We already do it with sports.
Yeah, sports to me has become the big hook.
Yeah, well, and I've taught many different. I've taught wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, softball, track and field.
You did
so
all
I've
that in
coached
school?
all those.
You coached them all in
I've
school?
coached all those, right?
That's interesting.
And so, and I've seen that success come to these folks as they, hey, you ran 4 laps around the track and you did it in 7 minutes. In 2 weeks, let's see if you can do it in 6.5 minutes. Oh, wow, I did that. Or I threw the shot put 35 feet last week. I'm up to 36.5 this week. Okay, and they start getting that success and belief in themselves. We need that in the classroom.
Yes, we do.
So we need to have that happening in 2nd and 3rd grade. So how do we get that success? So right now we're preparing them for the reading test, okay, in 2nd and 3rd grade. But we don't need, we teach them reading, but we've got to start empowering these kids with success where they believe in themselves. Okay?
I agree.
Okay, that's where
they're afraid to talk.
Right, and so the mental health starts there, and so we have more. We're even up to hiring psychologists. Oh my gosh, we're going to have psychologists and mental health. No, we need success. We need these children to be able. And back to what Roosevelt said a while ago, we've got to let these kids fail, and then learn how to overcome the failure. Learn from the failure. Okay, because you're going to get out in the real world, and you're going to fail in the real world. You will fail in the real world. It's not magic.
Oh, we tell them here at the toolbox all the time.
But
it's
how do you
but yet it's okay to fail.
Right.
Matter of fact, I encourage you.
Yeah.
Because if you're not failing, you're not doing anything.
They're learning.
So
you're not learning if you're not failing.
So as the coach,
fail forward.
As the coach, I didn't make the football team. I'm not a starter. I'm not on the 4x1 relay team. I'm not starting as a wrestler. I want to be the starting quarterback. Those are failures for them, not for us. We see the big picture.
Sure.
Okay, but we don't tell the kid, well, you're just a failure. Go home, don't come back.
Right.
No, here's what you need to work on to get better. I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen this. You work on those things, and if they apply themselves and work on it, guess what? They build on the failure. And
that's what we learn.
But we need that in society. We need that in society. So we've got to bring it. It's because not every kid's going to be in athletics. Okay, not so. Some people are into art. They like to read. Okay, and that's perfect too because we're all different. God made us all different
with all different gifts.
And when we try to shove all of God's creation into a standardized test situation,
it don't work.
Well, we're getting what we're getting now. So how do I address these? The variability? I have to have different learning models. I can't standardize test people all the time. Yes, it's going to take money. Okay, but it's going to take less money to fix it.
I think
Frederick Douglass says it's easier to build up a child than it is to repair a broken man.
Yeah.
It's easier to build up a child than it is to repair a broken man. And we're trying to repair broken people. And it's going to save us money in the long run and build up our communities, our societies, and our country if we go ahead and start building those folks up when they have the ability to mold and shape themselves through success.
I agree. Agreed. But how do we get away? And you talk about money. Everybody says, yes, it takes money. I've witnessed them throwing money at it my whole life. They just throw more money. We need more money. No, you need to make the money we've got given you work. And it's not working. One of the reasons because our education system is top heavy as heck in administrative people. And you're going to pay these administrative people, these PhDs, the educrats, that's the terminology for them, educrats. We're going to pay all the educrats all the big bucks, and the problem keeps on going.
Right.
So money is not the answer. The system is the answer.
Right.
And then the system's so warped that I have teachers or educators coming in the toolbox here that bring the system with them.
Right.
No. Keep your system out of this building. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I've been there. Yes.
Goodness gracious. And why? Because they're taught that way. They're indoctrinated to it. They're plugged into the system.
What system? Like, give me an example that they bring in here.
I'll give you a great example.
Just out of curiosity.
I had 5 kids in here one morning. 5 kids. Okay, I had these little Leatherman, S&N Infrastructure brought them. Those little Leatherman things. Okay, little promo, little Leatherman. You know what a Leatherman tool? Yeah, Leatherman tool, little bitty one, little micro. So I said, oh, it'd be so neat to give these. Remember that day? I pass them out to the kids. Here, you got a little gift for you. You know, oh man, them kids lit up, didn't they? Get a little tool, open it up, open that little pair of pliers, got a little knife in it, I said knife.
That's right.
1.5-inch blade on the knife, just 1.5 inches.
Right.
Little old saw blade. Oh, it's a worthless piece of crap, to be quite honest with you. But it's a novelty.
Yeah.
And it's a tool. They never had one before in their life.
Yep.
Well, one of the educators came in and says, Ray, we can't give them the kids that. I says, why? They'll take them to school and get in trouble. Okay. Is that so? That's on you. If we sit, and this is what goes on. No, we can't give it to them. Oh, we're gonna play that way.
So then it's your fault for giving it to them.
Yeah,
for them taking it to school. You didn't tell them to take it to
If
school.
you're looking at a child like I'm looking at this camera saying, "Don't take this to school. You will get in trouble." Shouldn't that be adequate to give them direction?
Right.
We're not giving the kids that ability nor that responsibility, so you're bringing your system in this building, and it's wrong. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why they don't want the kids to have a knife because they've made everything so fearful.
Yes, they have.
Everything that you do, if a kid grabs a 2-inch blade or whatever, it's because, okay, well, somebody's told him and it's been put in your mind. And mental health, the thing about mental health is that it's not talked about enough.
No.
Is that you'll wait till a child gets in the 12th grade and you hadn't taught him any respect, you hadn't taught him anything about etiquette, you hadn't taught him anything about responsibility.
Yeah.
But so all of a sudden now you want to tell him he or she, it's time to go to work. From the age of 5 to the age of 18, I hadn't told you to be responsible for anything. Now all of a sudden I want you to be responsible. That's not the way the game. That's not the way the life's going to work. It's like the thing is that we want everybody to be a doctor. If you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, you're not those things. Well, the thing is that when we were coming up, if you were in shop, you said, I want to work with my hands. I want to be a plumber. I want to be an electrician. I want to be those things. But they made those jobs seem so bad. Oh, you know, you
they
don't
made
want a
them
job.
less than.
You're an electrician. You're not worthy. But if you don't have a PhD or you don't have a 4-year college degree, and you got people that come out of college looking for a job, that's looking for a job in what? You're going to find a job that you don't like, and half the time, some of the people that's in jobs making $200,000 hate the job and hate everybody around them. But if you're working as an electrician and you wiring something,
you're
working
something with
together.
Servitude too. You're
Right.
serving purpose,
and it gives you a sense of being a sense of pride because it's like no matter if you got a 12th grade education and you are an electrician, you can make whatever you want to make. But they don't want to teach that, because guess what? If we teach independence, I can't control you.
You can't be controlled.
And that's what it's all about. Less control. Let me tell you that I want you to depend on me.
Do you see what they've done? Do you see it? It's so obvious. We're all victims of this Ponzi scheme.
And that's what it is.
That's all it is. And our kids are the ones that are suffering.
Bernie Madoff going to walk through the door soon?
Could be. But, I mean, nobody can see it, but everybody plays along. You just play along. Oh, yeah, and you're going to show up on Saturday on the soccer field with my kids. We're going to play soccer, and Mom will have me a soccer player.
Soccer star.
The soccer star, yeah, football star. And, speaking of sports, I've been to 42 schools, I think, to date, and I talked to a lot of kids and asked them, what you going to do when you graduate from high school? I'm going to be I'm going to be an athlete. In what sport? Football. Then what you going to do? They look at you and say, what you mean? I said, you won't last till you're 30. And then what you going to do? What do you mean? I can last longer than 30. Ken Stabler. What's
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady played till he was in his 40s.
That's an anomaly, though.
Yeah, but that was Tom Brady. You ain't Tom Brady. But see, now Ray, why would you crush that child's dream? Oh, now it's on me.
Right.
Now I'm the bad guy.
Right.
You can't talk real to kids anymore.
Well, it's like, if you seen Jimmy play, do you think that guy's going to be Tom Brady? I mean, look.
Yeah. How many snaps did you take yesterday?
I don't know what happened yesterday.
Yeah. How many shots did you try to take at basketball? No. How far did you run? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to be there if you're not trying to be there.
But they got every child thinking that they're going to the pros. They got every child, majority of the children, thinking that being an athlete is the golden ticket to get out of poverty, to get out of anything.
Yeah. And it can
be. But
it ain't.
There's a million people trying to be shoot a free throw in NBA. How many free throws are you going to make? This kid here can shoot 100 and make 99 out of 100. You shoot 25 out of 1,000. Are you going to make it? They're not going to look at you.
No.
So they say, well, if you tell the child that he can't make the pros, then what is he going to do? He should have been taught how to read. He should have been taught how to be academically gifted at the early age, because we all have it. But when you're using me to make money off of me, and most of the children that's coming up through the education system in high school, all they are is an ATM machine for the coach and for the school. Yeah. And they cheer these children on, and they know that this kid can't read.
He's got like a first grade reading level.
Right, and so they cheer him on. Everybody cheer him on. Oh, you're the best.
Well, they just pass him through.
Pass him through to some agent that's going to make $1 million off him, and then throw him back out to pasture.
And at a meeting this morning, we talked about the GPA. You hear that a lot in high school. What's your GPA?
Oh, Jesus.
Your grade point average is a GPA. Now, the grade point average, what's a good GPA? What is it, Teach? What's a good GPA?
Yeah, 3.7 and up, depending on the type of high school you're at.
But yet, the passing grade curve now is 50.
When did that get in?
Recently.
At a 1.5 is excellent. That's like a 3.5 now.
See?
Oh, my God.
See what they've done? They've lowered the dumb down to 50.
So now if you get half of them right, you don't have to study. You just guess, and you got 50%.
That's where we're at with our parents. Are you paying attention? I mean, what are we doing? And then you talk about a high how it don't make sense.
Well, we're using data to hide, what's really going on.
Yeah.
So we're creating the data. The students are creating data, and we are using the data to hide what's really going on. So grade inflation is a big issue.
Yes.
All the way up through college. So grade inflation's an issue. Certain data we want to Well, all data needs to be positive. So some things we don't record or don't report to prevent the data from being negative.
Right.
And again, so yet again, we're focused on data rather than student success.
Exactly.
And student success goes all the way back to our employer success, our community success, our family success, and the mental health of that individual. Okay, so all those other types of success that we need, we don't have those, but we do have positive data.
Yeah. And now that's what all the data centers are for. Now, you can laugh at that if you want to, but that's exactly what it's leading to, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the data. And the data is not going to make you happy, I promise. It's not going to give you purpose. It's not going to give you a career. It's not going to give you anything. And we got a problem. And I say we, it's collective, believe me. We have a problem. And the only way out of it is to change the
To
system.
get rid of the data centers forever.
Well,
They're not good. Data centers aren't going anywhere.
Well, it's very dystopian.
well, that's two different types of data. So the data I'm talking about is the numbers that we assign to students, your GPA,
Right.
your EOGs, how many times you've been referred to the office, how many days you've been suspended. That's the educational data that we're talking about that we use to judge the school systems and things like that. But, you know, with that said, I think over the last probably 6 months, I've seen a real big change, a positive change. And
In what way, Dave?
okay, and artificial intelligence is driving this, and it goes back to alignment and scale of our system. So we've had the educators' hands have been forced.
Right.
Okay. So we have parents now across the nation that now understand the issue. There's a tremendous amount of energy and interest in education today. And it's not public education, it's education in general. So,
Well, that word education has been bastardized.
It has,
It
but
really has. I
but-
mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true.
but we're starting to see alignments. We're starting to see schools, education systems, districts starting to really come on the bandwagon with trying to get trades or career exploration type activities and skill sets into our schools. This is a big push, and it's the push that's coming from the outside. As we've talked before over the last several years, education won't change unless an external force is creating it. The external force is here. The external force is here, and it's parents, it's the community,
In industry.
and industry. So the external forces are here. So the alignment is critical. So that's why it's such a big issue. Me personally, and I wrote an article back on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago, I guess it was, where I talked about where should our community colleges be. And for me, we're going to see a lot of the higher ed, a lot of the 4-year degrees, they're going to die on the vine.
They're going away.
Well, they're going to die on
They're
the
either
vine.
consolidating with other
Okay,
education,
and
like
that-
Elon College, I
Right.
heard today, that bought Queens College
Right.
out.
So that's going to create a void because in the past, going to college was the benchmark. How it got there, but anyway.
Money, money, money,
Yeah,
money, cash cow.
Okay, so that there's going to be a void, and I see community colleges needing to step up. There's Scott Rawls down at Wake Tech. I listen to him and watch a lot of stuff. And he's kind of on the preface of this. He's doing a lot of great things. But I think community colleges need to be in the position of kind of driving the bus. Workforce development, economic development, kind of working with them, and then through the community colleges, we need to push as much of this skills things that we got upstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where we're doing career exploration in middle school. I mean, in elementary school. So when you go to junior high, you ought to have an idea of, I like to work with my hands, or I like to be in sports, or I like to be in the arts.
Right.
You need to have those understandings in there. And we need to start putting those fundamental skills in place to where when you get into high school, you can start moving into apprenticeships. And then if you need additional education about, that's when you go to the community college. Community college should not be teaching anything that can be taught at the high school level. If you need a lab with $400,000 5-axis CNC machines, I can't put that in a high school.
No.
I can put it at the community college, but what can I put at the high school to develop those fundamental skill sets?
To drive the train.
Right, okay. So I put that into high school level. I might move you into a manufacturing environment for 6 months, like an internship.
Sure.
Or an okay. And then you go to your community college and you get the upskill. And then maybe 3 years later, you go back to a community college for another upskill. So that's where the alignment's going to have to take place. We're going to have to start strategically placing these learning conditions. So we got the application, learn, got the application, learn, got the application, even up through, and then of course on top of that could be your four-year degree.
You can't get away from that college, can you?
But if you're an electrical,
I know, but I'm being the devil's advocate here a little bit. But I keep hearing that pop up. Well, and even with these,
but now
educators will not stop. Pressing college.
But I think about 30% of our population needs to go to college. If you're going to be an electrical,
I'm not saying that they do if it's effective.
Yeah, like an electrical engineer, or a mechanical engineer.
Absolutely.
However, I don't necessarily think you have to start out of high school.
Take it to the next level.
Maybe you've went through the community college system and you've worked a little bit, and then maybe 3, 5, 10 years later, then you want to get your mechanical engineering degree, okay, and that's what leads that way.
Right.
So, if you want to be a doctor or an attorney, then, you need to go to college probably right out of high school.
Sure.
However, you could do that route, and that also takes us, so this kid's really smart. He goes to NC State or he goes to Clemson. He gets his mechanical engineering degree, okay. I've got this other guy. He's worked in manufacturing for 10 years. He goes and gets his mechanical engineering degree. Is this guy fresh out of college? How do I equate him to a guy that's had 10 years of experience?
You can't.
Well, but how are we going to do that? We're going to have to at some point.
We're having to do it now.
Right. So how do we do that?
Slowly.
Okay. So what's that index? It's kind of like, when you buy something that's got the nutrition label on it.
Yeah.
Or consumer price index. How do we equate these different levels of these different ways of learning? So how do we equate those? Okay. So I want to pay you a certain amount of money. How do you get to that money? Can you go straight into college and get that money, or do you need to work 5 or 10 years and then go to school and get that money?
What happened to being darn good at what you do?
Well,
I mean, seriously.
I agree with you.
We're sitting here talking. If you're good at what you do,
right, get paid.
You get paid, and you go with the flow, and life is good.
Yeah.
That goes right back to what do you love to do? What you love to do. Because that's what the toolbox is all about.
Right.
Put tools in here, and you like electrical, well, I might want electrical. And the great thing about the trades is you can jump ship.
Right.
In other words, I worked at an electrical firm a year. Roosevelt here worked in fast food for 21 years, whatever. Well, he's got a background. Well, if you're an electrician and you work 5 years or so and say, well, I want to jump over to plumbing. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, you got all the basic core skills.
Right.
You can jump ship in a heartbeat in the trades, can you not?
Right.
I did it my whole career.
So some of those...
Still jumping around.
Right. And so some of those pivots are easy and some of those pivots are not.
But your desire, your will, your attitude,
that will determine.
And your determination controls your outcome, period.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're at. Oh, but let's go to the education format. See where I'm coming from?
I understand. Yeah, I'm with you.
But you're not educated. Well, what in the hell am I if I'm not educated after 56 years in the industry? You get me?
Oh, I know, yeah.
But you don't have a degree. We have made education super, and it's not. That's what bothers me. I think education's great. Matter of fact, we can't function without it.
Right.
Well, you got two different definitions. Their definition's a piece of paper education. Yours is experience. That's where the clash comes in.
Like I said, it's pretty simple.
Well,
Why have we complicated it?
Break it down.
Money, money, money.
They got to
right?
bring it down. They got to bring it down because you see the thing is that if you talk to a Dave and he's an educator and he's talking about real life experience.
I know the system.
Ray's talking about real life experience, and we're talking about lived experience. See, the thing is that they're trying to raise a 2026 child with the 1960 education system. It's not going to work. You got to throw that system out. It's gone. It's dead.
Right.
And the thing is that they're telling the students and they're telling people, telling the students to slow down. We need to speed up. These children now, their minds is going at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and they're smart. But you want them to slow down, to dumb them down, because it's like, okay, this child, he's good in math, but you don't want him to he wants to be he's a mathematician, but you telling him to go sit in the corner because he's got attitude. Reason he's got attitude? Because he's not doing what he loves, he has a passion for. Asking that question, David, what do you like? Nobody wants to ask that question. Because you know what? I want you to do what I tell you to do.
Standardization.
Do as I say.
And to that point, 42 schools career days, I ask kids, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? I'm going to be a biologist. I'm going to be all these academically strong career pathways. And how do you know you want to do that? Well, that's what they told me I would be good at.
My mama told me that.
No, not my mama, to my counselor. And the counselor tells the student goes home to mom and daddy, tells them that. So now she's off and running
Now
to
she's
be.
going to go to
now
college
she's
to be a
gonna
marine biologist.
Exactly. I hear that. Coach. They've been coached.
Yep.
They've been directed. They've literally been directed.
The statement is, well, you want your son or daughter to be successful, don't you? Well, yeah. Well, then go to college. Go to college.
Like college is a silver bullet, baby.
But it's the benchmark. How did it become the benchmark of public education?
In 1979, when the government took over education, that's when it really became effective. Right. Am I right or wrong?
Well, you're right.
1979 is when our government took over public education. And ever since, we live in this disaster.
If the government takes over anything, we're as good as screwed. That's the lesson here. The
Pretty
government
much.
don't do anything good.
You got that right, especially in today's...
take your money. Man.
They got no problem taking money, but they sure have. They got $1 trillion in debt.
Then they converted it to the big cash cow that it is and gave kids the ability to sign a piece of paper and get as much money as they wanted to be, to go to college and be successful. Did you hear what I said? Go to college and be successful. That's the format. How's that working? It isn't. Is it?
No.
It isn't working at all. But yet, where's your son going after he gets out? Oh, he's going to college. I mean, then you say, to do what? They say, what do you mean?
But
I'm going.
We've talked a number of years, and all of those years we've talked, and I have said, parents are going to drive this change. Business and industry has to drive the change because the government won't drive it.
I couldn't agree. That's what I've been preaching for 10, 15, 20 years.
And so I'm starting to see that change. I'm starting to see the alignment. I'm very. I'm
I knew that's the reason I called you in here today.
Okay.
We need a little hope.
Need a
little hope.
Well, it's more than hope. It's this thing's like a freight train.
Yeah.
If you don't get on board, it's going to run you over. So the alignment's happening. We're starting. The current administration is starting to put a lot of money into workforce Pell. We're seeing a tremendous amount of funding and grants and things like that. Right now, they're focusing on post-secondary. I'm pushing a lot of folks into the secondary funding, and it goes back to Desmond Tutu again. So to me, post-secondary is pulling people out of the river. How are we going to go upriver, upstream, if you will, and prevent them from getting into the river. So the next changes in funding, federal level, needs to put these align these workforce systems into our schools to where we're getting the career exploration in elementary.
Right.
We get foundational skills in middle school.
Right.
And we get specific skills in high school that allows you to move into an employment situation.
Exactly.
Or in some cases, you need to have additional education.
Yeah, that's true.
But it doesn't have to be right now. It could be in 3 years, 5 years. So the alignment, I see the pressure. So I don't really see. 18 months ago, I saw a flow. Now I see pressure.
Cool.
So I see pressure now.
Well, let me speak about my sponsors, and we're going to talk about what Put Tools in Schools is doing this year, coming the new school year, and what some of our approach is going to be. Matter of fact, Bart this morning, Noonan, he hit the nail on the head when he talked about the progressive nature of what we need to be doing.
Right.
And that's exactly what we want to do.
And you got to have somebody driving that bus.
Yes, sir.
Right now we got a lot of people on the bus, and ain't nobody driving the bus.
You got that right. Well, ABS Insulating can drive the bus when it comes to comfort and insulation to your house. Yep, that's right. Open cell, closed cell foam, insulation of all types. They got you covered. That's ABS Insulating. Been around town for quite a number of years. Do great work. ABSinsulating.com. Also got a gutter division. If you've got gutters, we're in the stormy, rainy weather of summer's upon us, and we need to control the water around your house. Water, your number one enemy. That's ABS Insulating for all your gutter needs. That's right, I said gutter needs. Give them a call. That's absinsulating.com. Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, got whatever floor covering you may want. They may have something you didn't know you wanted. You ought to give them a call. Laminate's coming back on strong. That's laminate, a whole new generation of laminate products. And it's said to be they've surpassed anything of the past. So check them out. That's Floor Coverings International of Southeast Charlotte, where they bring the showroom to you. That's right, mobile showrooms. Go online, yourflooringteam.com. Queen City Home Store. Man, if you're looking for furniture, bedding, appliances, media, TVs, man, they got you. Visit their new store out at Carolina Place Mall and out parcel down there. Actually, there's 2 stores in Pineville. Check them out online, queencityonline.com. And they've got the best price, best product selection, best price guaranteed in Charlotte.
How long they been in business?
Since 1952.
You don't stay in business if you ain't good.
They're great.
You don't stay in business if you ain't good.
That's a fact. Well, Queen City Home Store's testimony to that fact right there.
You can trust them.
3 generations in that building over there. We got grandmother, she is noted. They're going to put her on the Guinness Book of World Records. She's the oldest remote worker in the country. She's 94. Wow. And still working. I saw her just the other night at an event they had out at giving career awards for the greatness that they do. Chip Venture, Mark Elkert, and many of them got awards. Well, Miss Player was there, and I walked up to her and thanked her for all what the Player family has done since she's the Queen Bee. Who else could you thank and get to all of them?
Amen, that's right.
So that's Queen City Home Store, queencityonline.com. And today we're talking about, what I want to talk about now is what some of the plans we have for up and coming. Every day's a new day. I go with the flow. You never know who's going to show up or who's not going to show up. But one thing's for sure, we need more people involved. And we talk about getting into the schools. Where do we need to go? I've said for years we need to go to the schools. Where do you find all the kids? In the schools. How do we get into schools? We've got to align ourselves with Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. How do we do that when they fight us all the way? They want to, and I don't know why, and I think I know why. It's called money, right? Funding. We don't want to upset the apple cart, I guess. At any rate, we're going to buy and get what we need to furnish a trailer. To furnish a tandem axle trailer with with projects that we can take out to elementary schools, we can take out to middle schools, and we can put in high schools. Doesn't matter. We can just gear the trailer up for whatever school we're going to, and expose. We'll wrap. They call them wraps. We'll put signage on our trailer, on the truck. We're going to we're going to develop a presence in Charlotte where you see us. But see, the problem is industry has to be involved, or industry representatives from plumbing, from electrical, from carpentry, from all sectors that we show up and we address. Engage the kids. Engage. Don't sit there and talk to them and put candy on the table for all of them to come up and take off the wrappers and throw on the floor. No candy, no giveaways. And I would say no giveaways, but they think they got to give away everything to get these kids' attention. No.
What about a pencil, Ray?
They don't use pencils, Richardson.
Nobody writes anymore?
I've had 100 pencils on the table.
Really? Huh.
They don't take the pencils.
Shows how long I've been out.
They don't use pencils anymore. Folks, I know I harp a lot. I know I do, and I'm brutal sometimes, and I swear I love you all, but we got to wake up. 90% of the kids coming out of high school cannot read a tape measure. And the sad part is neither do the teachers. Believe that? Fact, because I've tested them. You know, leadership. Where are we going to get our leaders from in the future? Because we sure ain't teaching leadership in our education system. In no way, shape, or form. You can't find. Leadership is having gumption, having tenacity, having the willpower to stand up and say what's right and what's wrong. Kids are afraid to do as such. I know because I've been in the classroom and tested them. You ask them a question, they're afraid to answer, afraid they're going to get ridiculed or shot down. Am I right or wrong, David?
Well, we only want correct answers on our EOGs.
See, if you're not correct, you won't answer. You're afraid. Law. And the kids can't. And another fact, middle school kids, which, if you don't know, is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders do not know what the trades are. Not in Charlotte. They don't know. And they don't know what the word apprenticeship means. Are you listening to all this? Like, this isn't a problem?
Well, they've got vocabulary words like relevance.
Oh, really? Like that's going to do a lot of good. Goodness gracious. So these are facts that we have to change. How? We go to schools. What do we need to go in schools? I told you, we need industry to step up and collaborate. If we don't, and there's another factor. How come everybody seems like they've got their own little niche? We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it our way, you know.
It's the not invented here syndrome. Not invented here. So most folks, if they didn't come up with the idea, they're not going to be in favor of the idea. Ego. Pride.
You know, and how come with all the associations we have in Charlotte, North Carolina, ABC, the Association of Building Contractors of the Carolinas, AGC, Association of General Contractors of the Carolinas, then you got NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction, you got NARI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry, and by the way, they got a meeting coming up last Thursday this month, and it's going to be at Constantino. That's NARI, the National Association of Remodeling Industry. I kind of tout their meeting every month because it's a great association. All right, I just named, 4 or 5 industry associations, and there's more. There's 4 or 5 more. Why aren't they stepping up? The PHCC, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Association. Why aren't they stepping up?
Now, I just went to Raleigh with the Carolinas Associated General Contractors.
You did? How'd that go?
Well, talked to the folks there, great folks. They had a legislative day for their new people in there, but they're primarily focused still on policy on the state level. And not really looking at education that much. So they're not really looking at getting into the schools.
See what I'm talking about?
And
how are we going to change it with that kind of attitude?
Yeah, so and we've talked about this in the past, and I see the 2 primary issues here. One is return on investment.
ROI.
So a lot.
Famous ROI.
So as I've seen construction, manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, I've seen these industries try to reach back into our school systems, and again, there's that pushback. There's that resistance there from the education culture, if you will. So there's not been a return on investment there, and plus, people typically in the industry, in a lot of cases, are not really interested in training. They want something that's a turnkey type thing. I want somebody that steps on the job that knows. We were talking asphalt a while ago. I want somebody that steps on the job that knows aggregate size, that knows the binder, that knows the temperature, that knows the feed rate, that knows the pressure. I want that person to step on this road project tomorrow, okay? Or I'm running heavy construction. I want somebody that knows how to cut this grade and how to figure out this all this stuff. We want those. We don't want to train those folks. We want them to step on the job site tomorrow and start benefiting. And so okay, but so they don't. Again, like we'd say, if I've got a reciprocating saw and that thing tears up, I'm not going to stop and fix it. I'm going to go buy a new one. And that's their mindset, and it's difficult for them to stop what they're doing to train these folks, to spend the money and to train these folks. They want these folks to come on the job site trained, and that's where we need to be. We need to be training those folks in our high schools, and we need to be able to plug them directly into a working environment. And guess what? Now they're making a decent wage. Okay, I hear it all the time. Well, I brought Joe Schmo on, and he worked 9 months for me in construction. I was paying him $18 an hour, and he went over here and he's flipping burgers at McDonald's for $22 an hour. Okay? If I can get them trained in high school, if I can give them a skill set in high school to where they could start working at $23 or $24 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay?
And we can do that.
And we can do that. And
we can do it.
And so
but the industry has to play.
But industry's tried to play in the past, so we've got to have communication. What the education culture has to do is we have to put together an education model that shows actual skill development, actual attainment, not just a credential piece of paper, but actual skill attainment. And I can plug that person into an employment situation. They've been mentored in high school. Mentorship's big in construction.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, see, I mentor them in high school. So the mentorship's there, the skill set's there, and we're actually doing it. We're actually plugging them into the work environment with a skill set where they can start to be value added, if you will, to the employment rather than somebody I got to tag along and bring along. And then they're going to quit in 18 months. Well, I'm not at zero. I've actually lost 18 months. I'm below zero. So those are the things that we can prevent. But we've got to have something in place for business and industry to see it's not a return on investment as much as it's value added.
I agree.
But we've got to show that, and once we show that to business and industry, we'll have more money than we ever need. They'll give us everything we want because we're helping them. But they've tried to invest in the past. They haven't got a return on that investment, and they're gun shy. So we have got to put something in place that is a model that shows true attainment. That it works. Yeah, and the mental health part of it's there too.
It's all there.
Well, education is like a gemstone. It's not a coin. A gem has facets. It has many sides. Education has many sides. Okay, mental health is in there. Employment's in there. Skills are in there. So this gemstone has all these many facets. And we need to put those facets together in such a way that it creates a gem, if you will, literal gem that employer wants to have.
Well, what we're going to do is create space here to address the adaptation to tools, working with your hands and your mind, and then we're going to send them to other learning facilities, apprenticeship,
Right.
like Blythe Construction on North Graham here. Blythe, major, big, huge. Well, they hire people and train people. They've got an apprenticeship program, and we can send them, down there. Mm-hmm. We can send them to the Builders Bridge program that's got an apprenticeship program. Jennings O'Neill,
career academy.
So, and this is a starting place.
Exactly.
And it works. But speaking of starting, let me talk about Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions, 2 young men, entrepreneur spirit, right out of high school, jumped into business. There you go. They wanted to open a business. Josh Davis wanted to open a business, totally transparent, honest, reliable, and 4 or 5 steps above most others. And right now, the foundation repair business has become big business in Charlotte. And why is that? We're talking about poor workmanship, poor building practices, inferior knowledge, not enough knowledge. Well, that's part of our problem. Why not hire a company that can take care of the inefficiencies we've built in our workforce? Now, I know that's a terrible comparison, but it's a reality. Why do we fix foundations in the first place? Because they weren't put in correctly to start with. They weren't done correctly. Well, if you've got that problem, RhinoFoundationSolutions.com. Check them out. They've got all your answers: subsiding slabs, patios, garage floors, driveways, whatever might be sinking, they can get back up into place. Crawl space encapsulation, water intrusion. Rhino Lift FoundationSolutions.com. And speaking of crawl spaces, or was I? 'Tis the season for hot, humid crawl spaces. The most popular topic on this show for the past 30 years have been crawl space issues. Humidity, too much humidity, not enough humidity. Yep. Well, Kilo Exterminating. Give them a call. Let them be the inspectors of your crawl space. They'll come out and give you 3 to 5 moisture readings, no matter what size the house is. 3 to 5 moisture readings going to indicate moisture content. That's Kilo.biz, KILLO.biz. Check them out. Go online. Give them a call. Let them be your pest control company. Kilo.biz. Today we've been talking about, PutToolsInSchools.org and what we collectively as a nonprofit are going to attempt to do about the issues around it in Charlotte. But my main issue is to help develop and empower kids to be free, to be empowered, to have self-confidence and a surety that they can do things on their own without having to call somebody and ask a question. Give them the ability, and that's what we're focusing on. Have you seen any results since we started the program here?
Yes, I have. I've seen the attitude of a lot. I've seen the attitude change of a lot of youth and adults come through the door. I think one of the things that we've talked about with industry, I think one of the things we need to do is get industry to tell us exactly what they want to train to. If you teach in like David said in high school, employees want somebody to come on that can read a tape measure. They want to read blueprints. They want to do the core things. When they get on the job site, those basic things that they already know. Now the employee has confidence. He want to stay there because if he gets there and he asks him, can he read a tape measure? No. Now he's feeling like, well, okay, I don't like this job. But we ask him before they get that industry to say, train to this right here. That's what you're training for in high school. Now you got a model employee because that employee now he says, okay, now I want to be a plumber. I know about that now. But we're playing guesswork with the employees. Why don't let the employees give a list, train to this. When you come to Put Tools in Schools, it's an excellent place to come to learn and grow and to find yourself. I'm finding myself coming here on Saturday. Now I'm bugging Ray Monday and Thursday now. So
yeah, we're going to put together work days for these other nonprofits. We talked to What's Next this morning, a nonprofit here in town that have about, 50 kids?
Yeah.
And we're going to work with them hopefully on weekdays this summer as a summer camp entity for them and work and collaborate with them. So And that's the whole name of the game is collaboration. And that's one thing that the Charlotte industry, community industry, don't do.
Right.
We don't do it. Have you seen that?
No, I'm not.
But have you in your county?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot, yeah.
People just don't collaborate.
Right.
I don't know what it is. You know, it takes a village.
Truly.
It takes a village. And as we move forward, and I'm going to make a plea to the listeners and whoever might be listening to this or watching this podcast, we need support from the community. And in what ways we need support is people that have a background in the construction industry and that can help instruct and teach. Now, I realize a lot of people today hear a lot of bad stories about working with kids, and I've heard them myself, and yep, it's out there. However, if we don't work with them, give them some tough love, we're never going to get beyond where we're at.
That's right.
And it's absolutely essential that we have, like if I have 15 kids in here and I'm the only one that knows the stuff, that ain't going to work.
Right.
That is not. What's the ratio in education? Do you know? How many kids to one instructor?
You know, in some classroom environments, such as English or something like that, it may be 32 to 35.
Well, that's different. We're talking for hands-on
stuff. Some classes may be 16, but it's typically up in the 23, 24, 25 range.
Gotcha. Well, that's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
With one person.
Right.
In the hands-on skill.
Right.
I'm willing to go out fighting. And what I mean is I'm no spring chicken here. And I've got a few years left, but the years I've got left, I'm willing to give it my all and see how I can personally help some children in a career pathway that's going to give them security in a career. I think that's what we all want.
Right. Individual success.
Yeah, we got a garden to plow, so to speak, and this summer, what our plans this summer here at the Toolbox are create a learning space that we can bring. We got a classroom, we got a workspace, we've got everything we need except for industry. Milwaukee Tools came into building last week, said they'd work with us. Looking forward to that. We need other industry to step up. We've got to provide an infrastructure of electrical in the toolbox because all the tools, all the equipment take power. And we need to develop relationships and partnerships with various trade organizations to perpetuate growth and career opportunities. And what's your outlook, Mr. David?
Well, again, from my standpoint, it's positive. We're starting to see the alignment happening. Public-wise, I see a tremendous growth in homeschool. So, and to me,
that indicates the lack of desire to have your kids in the public school system.
To me, the Cadillac should be the public system. It's not there now. It needs to be corrected. It needs to be fixed. But yeah, that's part of the parent pressure that they're willing to take their kids out.
Right.
I'm continuing to see state and federal interest in other education systems, and I know the state of North Carolina is looking for alternate education systems as well. So next 5 years are going to be unbelievable.
Thank you both for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Next week, we're going to talk, general construction, remodeling, home improvement, what have you, right here on About Your House every Saturday, 9 to 11 on Fox Sports Charlotte. Roosevelt, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Roosevelt, to everybody. This man really has been an incredible addition to Put Tools in Schools, and we certainly appreciate the work he's done. Thank you, Dave, for driving over here from Iredell County. And like I said, tune in every Tuesday. We do live podcast every Saturday, downloaded to Fox Sports Charlotte. And join us every week as we discuss. Today we discuss the biggest problem we all face, and that's our tomorrow, our future. Who you going to call to fix your house? Well, tune in. We'll help guide you. See you next week.